Bryce, I know you're going to be extremely excited. For Week 8, we have a fantastic Thursday night game.
Yes. What is it?
Bucks and Vikings.
What? What was it? I thought you said fantastic.
We have a fantastic 1 o'clock game.
All right. What's that?
Falcons and Eagles.
No.
I'm working on it, guys. We have a great 4 o'clock game.
What's the 4 o'clock game?
Giants at your Cowboys. How about the Sunday night game? Saints at Broncos. Doing nothing for you?
A lot of passing yards. I like that one.
Monday night games, at least the 49ers at Cardinals.
That's not bad. No defensive.
Let's just a little quick rundown before we hit all of Week 8. Welcome back, guys. Excuse me while I choke on whatever just rolled down my throat. You can leave jokes later. Let's start with the Thursday night game. Price, focus.
I'm good.
Let's start with the Thursday night game. Vikings at the Buccaneers. Do you think Christian Ponder can have a field day throwing the ball?
I don't see how he couldn't. That Bucs defense is horrendous. The secondary is just awful. I wonder if they're going to try to run Adrian Peterson out in the slot a little bit just because the Bucs secondary is that bad. I mean, they're obviously going to run the ball with AP because that's his bread and butter. But do you think they'll try to create some mismatches out on the side with him in the slot?
Possibly, but I also think that Percy Harvin's the perfect slot receiver in the NFL, and I think Percy Harvin should have a really, really good game.
Depends on if they double him, because that's the only way to stop Percy Harvin, especially with his little amount of talent as the Bucs have in the secondary.
Either way, Christian Ponder has an Ohio State grad on the outside with Michael Jenkins out there. So
that's very true.
We're good there. You taking Vikings over Bucs?
I'm taking Vikings over Bucs.
They're favored by 7 as of right now. Let's start with that Sunday game, Falcons at Eagles.
It's going to be a bird fight.
It's a really interesting game, especially here in Atlanta, considering that Atlanta hasn't beaten the Eagles since 1988 in Philadelphia. That was before you were born, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, jeez. It was before your beautiful bride-to-be was born, too, right?
About 10 years before she was born, I think.
God, at least my wife and I were born before that.
Well, of course, I was born in the 70s.
Screw you. Besides the whole craziness of them not winning in Philly since 1988, what do you think the Falcons can do to actually pull out a victory here in Philly?
I think the Falcons just have to open the playbook up. The Eagles have a good defense, despite them firing their defensive coordinator. The Eagles' offense is extremely accident-prone. The Falcons' defense needs to take advantage of the turnovers that Mike Vick is going to give them because he always turns the ball over. They need to capitalize on these things and put points on every single turnover that Mike Vick gives them. Because that offense is very talented. They can very easily come out and be one of the top 5 teams in the NFC. They have a ton of talent.
Well, when you have Michael Vick and Deshaun Jackson and LaShawn McCoy and Jeremy Maclin, when you have all these names on offense, you think, God, they must put up a lot of points. Mm-hmm. They get really close until Mike Vick fumbles it on the red zone.
I was talking to one of our friends in the sports club. The Eagles seem like a team of individuals. They don't seem like a cohesive team of players. Whereas in the Falcons' case, you have Michael Turner, you have Julio Jones, Matt Ryan, Roddy White, all terrific superstars in their own right, but they come together to make a team. Jeremy Maclin, Deshaun Jackson, LaShawn McCoy, Michael Vick, all superstars who have not gelled yet.
Mm-hmm. Who you got in the game?
Eagles
are favored by 1.
Really? I figured Vic would be the dog in this game. I'm going to go with the Falcons.
I'm going with Falcons too. Barely. I think it might be 3 to 7 point game.
Do you think they cover the spread?
I do, yeah.
Well, if they do, then that's one point.
Panthers at Bears.
Boy, this is going to be a...
Jay Cutler's going to come back from getting completely sacked hard by Ndamukong Suh and just play lights out. I think the Bears are going to take this game.
The Bears are favored by what's the Bears spread in this game?
9.
They cover.
I think Brandon Marshall is having a fantastic year. I was just offered a trade opportunity for Brandon Marshall, and I'm skeptical to give him away. But I think he's going to have.
I like Brandon Marshall. I hate Jay Cutler.
You're not a big fan of Jay Cutler.
I think the Bears defense scores more points than the Carolina offense.
Speaking of another team that should dominate the others, Chargers at Browns.
I don't know. Both teams are not really good.
Can we move on? I mean,
you know what? I'm going to take the Browns if
San Diego's favored by 1 on the road.
If Trent Richardson is healthy. If Trent Richardson is healthy and can play at 90% or 80%, I'm going to say 80%. If Trent Richardson can play at 80% of this game, I'm going to take the Browns.
I'm going to take Chargers on the road. I think they'll cover the 1-point spread. Seahawks at Lions. This one's actually a really interesting matchup, just simply because they're both NFC teams that Lions are trying to dig themselves out of the hole that they've dug themselves in. Mm-hmm. Seahawks are trying to get back into the NFC playoff picture, which I think they can get back into.
Absolutely, yeah, push them.
So, if the Lions looked like they did against Chicago on Monday, against Seahawks defense, which is
it's not that big of a drop off from the Bears. It is. There's a drop off. Bears are the best, but yeah, Seahawks are right there.
If the Lions play like that again, I think Seahawks are going to win big. Mm-hmm. And the Lions are favored by 1 at home.
I'm going to go with the Seahawks on the road with this one. I think a steady dose of Marshawn Lynch to the Lions' front 5. I think that'll be good for them. And just take the pressure off of Russell Wilson. He'll make the passes because he's capable of making those passes, but I think a heavy dose of Lynch will go a long way in this game.
Dose?
Dose.
Jaguars at Packers.
German for Dosh.
Jaguars at Packers with Maurice Jones-Drew out, Gabbert possibly out.
The line is 16. Who's favored by 16 in the NFL?
Packers.
16. That's more than 2 touchdowns. That's embarrassing.
So we can't move on.
You're
not gonna take the upset.
No way, Packers.
Colts at Titans, a really big. And I say big, but AFC South matchup for just to try to get into it. I mean, they're going to have to dig themselves back into the playoff picture. I mean, obviously, Houston's running away with the division.
They're running with the division.
But
the AFC is so wide open because everybody is mediocre.
Hasselbeck looks like he has found the fountain of youth again. He's starting to play better. Mm-hmm. Chris Johnson, the past couple of weeks, have actually done pretty well.
I
think 2 weeks ago, I think he ran for 95 yards. Last week, he ran for 195 yards. Mm-hmm. He's building, guys. So let's just see what happens. Titans are favored by 4 at home.
I would take the Colts and the points in that one, but I think the Titans win. I think the Titans win by 3 or less points. I think Chris Johnson has found his stride again. I think that offensive line is blocking up. The big thing with Chris Johnson is he kept running east and west. He wouldn't see that hole and just shoot up. He would bounce around, be hesitant, but the past few games that I've seen him play, he really has hit the hole hard, and it shows in his numbers.
I think Matt Hasselbeck's going to actually have to throw the ball because I think the Colts' defense on run defense is actually pretty decent.
They're stealth.
So we're going to have to. I'm going to take the Titans at home also, but I think it'll be close. Mm-hmm. Patriots at the Rams. Another big, and this is in London. Okay. This is probably going to be in Wembley, right?
Oh yeah, that's gonna be in Wembley.
And that's one of your favorite places, right?
Mm-hmm. Man, that's where all the championships are held, man. Yeah. They're having a big super fan bash, I believe, in something square in London.
The good news for St. Louis is Damian Amendola actually did practice limited practice, but he did practice, and he's been out for the past 3 weeks, and he still leads the team in receiving.
That's I didn't even know. That's disturbing.
The Patriots are finding ways to win. As much as they're giving up fourth quarter leads, they're finding ways to win, which is a good thing for Belichick and Brady. Brady, like I mentioned in the earlier show, he's not the Brady of old, but he's still Tom Brady.
He's still better.
And as much as obviously we're Buckeye fans, but as much as we hate Tom Brady for where he went to school,
Michigan undefeated.
No.
I think so. This represents the number of losses we have right here. 0.
I'm going to take Patriots in London.
Not so fast, my friend.
Oh, here we go, Lee Corso.
Yeah. I'm going to take the Rams on this
really?
one. I think the Patriots' fourth quarter woes are going to come back and bite them. It's London, so crazy things happen. I mean, they're flying to another country to play a football game. Crazy things happen. You know what, the Rams, just a hunch.
And New England's flying closer. Just saying. Dolphins at Jets, an AFC East matchup. Really big for Dolphins to try to again, all this, we're getting into week 8 of the season, so they're trying to build on their playoff participation to hopefully get into the playoffs. I think the way the Jets have been playing, that even though they have a couple losses lately, I think the Jets are going to take this one, and I think they're going to win healthy.
I'm going to wait to see what the weather's going to be like. Because you know my old adage about Mark Sanchez in cold weather.
You know Mark Sanchez.
Don't like Mark Sanchez in cold weather. I don't like Mark Sanchez, period. He's a crappy quarterback, and he just broke up with Eva Longoria yesterday, who is a beautiful woman, and he is an idiot for breaking up with her.
Breaking news coming from Sports Tele here, guys.
Obviously, the quarterback with the prettier girlfriend is going to win this. Tannehill's girlfriend. And Sanchez has no girlfriend now. I'm assuming him and Tim Tebow are bunk buddies.
Oh, did you really have to? Redskins at the Steelers. This is a really interesting matchup, considering RG3 has been fantastic. You speak very highly of RG3.
I really like RG3.
Steelers won a big one last week against the Bengals.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, Steelers are playing for their playoff lives here. I really believe this.
I believe they're the best team in that conference. I think the Ravens have a lot of questions on defense, and
they have the best record in the division right now.
And Steelers need to come out this week and show it against a mobile, the only true dual threat quarterback in my opinion in the NFL. He is the only true dual threat who can beat you with his arm, because his arm is just as good as anybody else's arm, and his legs are better than 90% of the quarterbacks in the NFL. If the Steelers defense, who I believe will be without Troy Polamalu again this week, if they can come out and shut down RG3, that'll go a long way in their playoff hopes. But
Pittsburgh's favored by 5.
Man, that's the RG3 is going into Heinz Field for the first time. That atmosphere can be pretty intimidating. RG3 hasn't been intimidated yet on the road. I'm gonna have to go with the Steelers in this one, just because I think RG3. I think the nerves are gonna get to him, but I still think he'll have a terrific game.
Not so fast, my friend. I think RG3 is gonna have a fantastic game. I don't think nerves are gonna affect him, to be honest with you.
I wouldn't be surprised if they don't.
The Steelers are still hurt on defense a lot.
I believe Pouncey, their center, is gonna play, but he'll play hurt. He is their anchor of their offensive line.
I think RG3 is gonna have a fantastic game, and I'm actually sitting him on my bench. Only because of Sunday night game. I'll explain later. Raiders at Chiefs. Another game that's really not going to mean anything. I mean, it's Raiders are underdogs by 2.
Stay off on the West Coast. Nobody cares about your team.
No pick?
Okay. Bomb explodes and blows up the stadium.
Let's move. Wow, Bryce.
No one cares. Nobody cares. It's Kansas City. They hate their own quarterbacks. They can't sell out the stadium. Nobody cares about those teams.
Let's move on to your game real quick. Giants at Cowboys. Big game at Jerry's house.
Jerry World.
What?
We already beat the Giants once this year in New York. Opening day, big, we're Super Bowls. Guess who won? These guys. I don't think we can replicate that, but...
Why
not? Giants are just playing terrifically right now, and I don't think the Dallas offense kind of has an identity. I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a very good battle between the secondary of Dallas, who is first in the NFL right now in pass defense, and Eli Manning and his 2 amazing wide receivers. I think that's going to be the huge battle. Is can Eli find Victor Cruz or his other wide receiver, or Martavis Bennett, out of the backfield? Tight end. Pardon me. Can that secondary shut down those weapons? Yeah. Are they going to force them to be a run team? Or can they get to Eli Manning? Can that offensive line protect you?
That's the one thing I'm actually looking into, is to watch the defensive line of Cowboys go after Eli Manning. And because that has been the biggest Achilles heel. Yeah. That has been the biggest Achilles heel for Dallas, is whether or not they can get to the quarterback. If they can get to the quarterback, they're going to be solid. However, if Dallas's offensive line continues to have their struggles like they have all season, this is going to be an easy game for Jason Pierre-Paul.
If Tony Romo can't get on the same page with Des Bryant, this is this offense can implode so easily because it's. I compared the Dallas Cowboys to the Philadelphia Eagles, a group of very, very talented superstar individuals and not a team. And it's heartbreaking to watch. Another big storyline for the Dallas Cowboys, Sean Lee, our leading tackler, is going to be out. That is a huge loss. He's out for the season.
What's your pick?
I don't know if I can take my fan hat off on this one, man.
I'm taking the Giants before Bryce makes his pick. I'm taking the Giants probably by at least a touchdown.
I gotta take the Cowboys.
Before we move on to the Sunday night game, I have to pose this question to you because a fan of the show. Thank you, JJ, for asking me this question. But a fan of the show brought this question to me, and I thought it was just so profound or so just off the wall that I hadn't heard about it. But he asked me, had I heard the rumor that Atlanta was looking into, or the Falcons were looking into moving to LA? And I literally just sat there and thought about it for a second. I'm like, well, if Atlanta can't come through with the tax money or whatever they're trying to charge people to build a new stadium, Arthur Blank may think about moving into LA.
No.
You don't think so?
No.
Wow, that's good answer. Good commentary there, bud.
Yeah, that doesn't even make sense. Arthur Blank established his career here in Atlanta, Home Depot. That's his bread and butter. Corporate offices are here in Atlanta.
It was just a question posed by JJ. He had heard a rumor.
That would be crazy, though. I mean, that would be. I don't know why the Jaguars wouldn't take that. They're in a much worse position than Atlanta.
Sunday night game, Saints at Broncos. It's a big
offensive fest.
It's really going to be scary for anybody who's got the defenses for Denver or New Orleans. However, this is what I was talking to you about having RG3 on the bench, is the fact that I have Peyton Manning as my starting quarterback. And let me just tell you, the Saints secondary has been awful.
They gave up 400-plus yards to Josh Freeman?
Josh Freeman.
I would not consider him elite.
No. And can you imagine Peyton Manning just sitting there and
up in that thin air, just tossing over this way about 50 yards? Mm-hmm. That's going to be a high-scoring game. I would almost like to know what the over/under is in this game. Keep talking, Billy.
Denver's favored by 6. Drew Brees is coming back, and I think the Saints are coming back. As much as I hate to say it because I'm a Falcons fan, but as the Drew Brees is coming back, he's starting to look like the Drew Brees. I mean, he's actually either close to top 5 probably in passing this year. 2,097 yards already, 18 touchdowns. But I mean, Manning's not far behind him, 14 touchdowns and 1,800 yards. So it's
over/under on this game is 55.5.
Oh, over.
That's my exact thoughts too.
Over.
I would say both teams score in the low 30s.
Wow. Who do you got in the game?
Broncos.
Broncos at home as well. On to the Monday night game. 49ers at Cardinals. Big matchup because the Cardinals are now tied for second place in the division with the Seattle Seahawks. 49ers are leading the division. Let's not go there. So this is a big matchup for the 49ers because they need this win on the road bad, especially against an in-division rival. And with kind of up in the air whether Skelton's going to play or Cobb's going to play.
Can I just end this right here?
Sure.
Yeah, this 49ers are going to win.
Okay.
I got an over/under for you.
I'm listening.
The over/under number is 6.
6.
How many times do you think the Arizona quarterback, whoever it is, gets sacked?
Under.
Under 6?
I'm going to say under.
All right. I'm just kind of curious of what you'd say. We'll see. We'll see Monday night. It might be 6 though.
I'm going to take the Niners on the road as well. But
yeah, I'm taking the Niners on the road. A heavy dose of Frank Gore will do them good.
That's our preview for Week 8, guys. And please check out our Twitter page, our Facebook page, @SportsClubNFL. For Bryce, I'm Billy. Daniel will be back next week. We'll see you next week.
Go Bucks!